So welcome everybody to Restoring Lost Magic. This is a sample Trinity session. Trinity Essence is a modality that came forward at the end of 2023, right in the beginning of 2024. I've been doing this for, oh goodness, well over 10 years and offering transformative healings online for over 3 years now. 3 years of this work. But before that, I was traveling around the United States. And so these transformative healings have evolved into something that human race needs right now more than ever. What? It needs to come into the body. It needs to come into the body as the earth. It needs to come into that remembrance of our relational life force with the universal nature, with the part of us that is a part of everything, to not only remember, but to start to live it. That's Trinity Essence. And the way we're doing it this month and in this particular healing is restoring lost magic. So the first thing we're going to do is just kind of welcome us, welcome you and your beautiful higher self. We're going to welcome the divine mothers, the different various aspects of source, and the angel Jophiel. The angel Jophiel is someone who's been working with me off and on for, well, I won't even say off. I say it. She says you've been off, but since I was probably in my 20s, guiding me all along the way. And so the angel Jophiel is coming into each of your systems, and we're going to welcome her. She's going to come into your crown, into your heart on a count of 3, 2, 1. And asking her to amplify her angelic presence for just a second. So now notice whatever is going on in your energy system, in your heart. And don't worry if you don't feel anything or sense anything. Beautiful. And we also start every session with a little bit of sound vibration, because sound vibration brings us all into tune, into resonance with each other. So you're welcome to do this on your own. What we're going to do is chant the sound of Om 3 times. We're going to take a deep breath in, and on the out breath, just chant the word Om, elongated for the length of that breath. Now, if you don't want to do it out loud because you're in a space where you can't do it, just allow the vibration to move in, around, and through you. So, you ready? Let's go. Taking the first deep breath in. Om. And the second breath in. Oh. And the third breath in. Oh. Beautiful. It always adds an element, again, of resonance, of silence, of stillness, of sacredness. All the different qualities that we would imagine comes from the presence of the divine. So we bring in Trinity by simply intending, because when we recognize that magic has always been there, always been a part of us, it is who we are at our core. And really, we just kind of intention. It takes, I've said this before in other healings, but I'm going to repeat it because it's worth repeating. It only takes 3 things to manifest magic. 1, an intention, or 1, a tool, and Trinity is the tool. And 2 is a fuel, a life force, and that is the divinity. Trinity is both. Trinity is both a tool and that um, is a conduit for the divine. And then the third aspect you need is an intention. That's all you need to make magic. And so we're going to intend Trinity by just leaning back into it, by finding that place within us that knows it is a part of everything. Now, Trinity follows intention. And so here, the intention we've set for the sample healing is restoring lost magic. So it's going to go to the universal, intimate ways that we all need together as a group and individually. Because again, when we recognize we're a part of everything and everything is a part of us, what's good for the group is good for us. We may just feel like what I'm saying is intimately speaking to you, or it may be something you just kind of grasp later on. It says, oh, well, that made sense. And so we're going to restore lost magic in the way that the divine intelligence guides us. We're going to do it following our chakras as focal points. In restoring lost magic, I think we should start in a wonderful exercise of just grounding into the magic. A lot of people who, especially people who are spiritual, love the light, airy, fairy presence of just being in bliss and joy and happiness. But in reality, magic is embodiment. It's grounded, and the earth is shifting and changing. And as we ground, we hit all that stuff that is scary, the survival fear. So grounding for a lot of people is very hard. And we're not in the body, and we're not connected to our body, and we're not connected to the earth. We can see it all around us by the way we treat the earth. We see it as a commodity. Not everybody, but as society. We see people as something other, something to be afraid of, something to judge, something to label, something to just get rid of in certain cases, because power and greed has become a driving force. Well, in magic, the currency of magic is frequency, it's vibration. It's that inanimate life force that is so animated when you realize it is you, it is a part of you. And that's what we're trying to restore. So the first thing we're going to do is ground. I'm going to invite you, okay, for those of you who are new, we're going to go into our grounding cord at the base of your spine. And I'm just going to update your grounding cord, because our grounding cord is typically calibrated for when we came into the planet. So and energies have shifted and changed. So we're just going to update the grounding cord. There we go. Which will make it easier to ground. It's kind of like when you get an update and upgrade to your applications, you know, it glitches before the upgrade. Same with this energetic upgrade to grounding. So I can already feel those of you who needed it so much smoother and grounding. So I'm going to invite you to breathe down through this imaginary grounding cord. Breathe down through the chair, the floor, the bed you're sitting on, down into the top layers of the soil, through the various geological layers of the earth, any water table, rock, metal, to the molten layer of the earth. And connect to the heart of Gaia, like you're plugging in to an umbilical cord to Mother, because when you realize that you are this universal life source, the planet is too. She is part of this life force. She is a dimensional being. It is a part of us that cultures all across the world celebrate, honor with rituals, with traditions, with festivals, with, well, magic. So just sense into the part of you It already knows it's part of the earth and feel that welcome. Ah, it's Beltane. So the molten layer of the earth is providing kind of a cleansing type of a essence to the earth vibration. There we go. You had a nice bit of what we call conditioned consciousness just burned out just by simply showing up and starting with this exercise of grounding. Um, the um, the celebrations around the world that honor that for thousands of years honored this mark between summer and spring solstice and equinox um, in celebration of rebirth, new beginnings, and knowledge, nurturing. And lit bonfires. They danced around maypoles. They gave gifts to each other in the form of baskets. It's something we still do today, but not again with the reverence and the sacredness of our ancestors in the past. And so the magic here says, yeah, I'm remembering for you. Yep. And we have, oh, she's finally showing up. I expected her to show up earlier. The goddess Maya, who and I've never really worked with her before, but I was talking about her earlier, so it's not um, coincidence that she's here now. Goddess Maya, very much of an earth goddess coming from the Greek traditions, joining with this earth essence. So we're in the center of the earth, and what I want you to do is breathe this essence back up into your body, and it's going to go into every cell, every atom, every fluid, every bone, every muscle, all the tissues, starting with your feet to your ankles, and you're breathing it up into your shins and calves, your knees. There you go. Your thighs. Up into your pelvic girdle. Into your spine. All the organs in your midsection. Into your rib cage and sternum, flowing into that all important heart center, the higher spiritual heart, into the big giant shoulder blades, the shoulders, and down each of the arms, trickling into the forearms, hands, fingers, palms, and back up into the neck, the face, the skull, the hair, the brain, the eyes, the ears, the nose, all the way up to your crown. Really remembering its connection to all that is. The other day in the last session of April, we did a beautiful session that created something of an energetic plumb line. It was a stabilizing, a whole body stabilizing reset. Because a lot of people, that's what they're complaining about right now. The storms of the earth of any kind, challenges of any kind, whether it's political, whether it's climate, whether it's personal, relational, physical. There's all these storms that are knocking us about. Energetically, when we're aligned with that center point, with that balance that knows it's a part of the universe, nothing can knock us off because that center point is all there is. And so we simply just adjust, kind of like sails, or kind of like the rudder in a sailboat, kind of just moves with the current of what's going on around us. And that's something you gradually um, occur or entrain to through what? Attunement. We're going to talk about resonance and dissonance, I see, during this session. Dissonance, again, is the energies that kind of keep us out of lock and step with the harmonic resonance of being in a centered kind of flow with the life force around us that is relational to everything around us, that the grasses whisper when you go out, that the waters magically twinkle, in that sound that comes alive, that The wind, every time I go walking in the forest, the wind talks to me. It's just all of a sudden, and it's a magical life force that comes alive when you notice it and it notices you. And so we had a beautiful, I don't know why I'm talking about it now, maybe it's important to some of you, reset. And that was last month. This next month, I'm sure we're going to be doing a lot more magical things to both help your system align to the magic it's forgotten and clear out, like, hey, garage sale, big giant garage sale of all the, excuse my language, shit, the stuff that has blocked us from knowing who we are. And so this grounding is a step. Do you feel lighter? Just kind of sense into where you are in your body now. Are you more present? Your awareness is your superpower. Your awareness is what aligns with a new way of seeing, a new way of being, a new way of resonating with things that are more harmonious for you and disengaging with things that aren't. And so now we're just going to, we've already set the intention of restoring lost magic. Grounding is kind of just a little phase that will be very good in listening to this. Anytime you feel ungrounded, it's a great practice for you. So what we do again is we follow the focal points of chakras, but because this is a Trinity is a restoration of magic, not just within your body, but the body of the earth, because the earth is our home. We're hurtling through space on this giant spaceship called Gaia. We start with a universal, a multi-universal point, focal point, the center of the earth. And here we're going to follow the intention, and I just simply listen. And I'm like a play-by-play announcer, showing you what the source is revealing. Yeah, and for a while now, what it first touches on is this disconnect. And the disconnect is human conditioning that has consciously, culturally, within societies, dismantled, disengaged, deconstructed, modernized magic into words on a page, into symbols, into myths and mythology. All dead. Oh, okay. Yeah. So we're going to go into that dead place. And that dead place is the part that's just disengaged from magic. I call it dead because I use very simple terms like a forgetfulness and a remembering. The deadness is the counter to the aliveness of what your system feels when it's restored, when it's reclaimed its birthright. So we're going to just start chipping away at this deadness now. And typically we'd spend a lot more time, but because this is a sample healing, we're just going to clear what's ready to be cleared. We call it transforming, and it's alchemy because it moves from one state of consciousness to another. So Trinity is pointing all this energetic, magical, divine consciousness, the issue of deadened conditioning, deadened blocks, deadened patterns. There we go. Dead patterns. And those dead patterns are networked. They're entangled with different aspects of um, of magic that's been forgotten, it's been set aside. So there will be hurt, there will be trauma, there will be pain, there will be anger. These are deadened places that are not alive. There will be disillusionment, I'm sure. Oh, yeah, disillusionment. This is a, okay, great. This is a pattern of disillusionment. Thank you. Usually when I talk enough. So I'm again a conduit. Source is working and I'm a play-by-play announcer. And so you'll hear me talk through real time about where we're working and how it's working. So we're working on a pattern of disillusionment, the part of you that fell out of love with that animated life force. And when I talk about you, it's a dimensional you. It's not the you in the here and now, but it's surely the you in the here and now. I should say it's more than the you in the here and now. It's your ancestral patterns, the conditioned consciousness of in your genetics that are held in your epigenetics. It is your karmic history that is incarnational, that you inherited from past lives of disengaging or misusing or not believing magic. So this disillusionment holds a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, a lot of what you would figure is disillusioned within you. When you hear me breathe like this, it is just energy moving. There is a team. Divine Mother's working with us, a lot of goddess energy, Divine Mother Mira, the goddess Durga, the goddess Kali, who act like a sieve or a drain to pull from us these patterns that no longer serve our evolutionary process of restoring lost magic. Oh, yeah. Disillusionment is filled with a network trauma. All the times magic was misused against each other, misused against nature, misused in war. Think of all the divine wars. Think of the divine war that's going on right now. You can't say any word about anything and explosion, right? Because there's a history there. And it is volatile. It's like a lit match ready to explode a bomb. And that's the history I'm talking about. And we're seeing it in real time around us erupt. We're seeing it in political warfare and psychological warfare, this disillusionment that plays games, human mind games, egoic mind games, of attaching to things. Divine right to own anything doesn't exist because in a divine definition, a truly divine definition, no one owns anything. There isn't any higher or lower. Everything is just consciousness. Everything just exists. In this earth plane, it happens to be a duality. You have good and bad, where we judge things based on that spectrum. But in the realm of consciousness, there is no duality. It's all just one. And that's something that your awareness comes into a deeper attunement with over time. There we go. So now down in the multi-universal, okay, we don't have time. So what I typically do in longer sessions is we go up each of the chakras, and sometimes we spend a whole entire hour, like maybe on the root chakra or the heart chakra, holding certain patterns or holding something that we're working on. when I work personally one-on-one, sometimes they're split into 4 sessions because they're that big and that powerful. Here, we picked a topic and we started at the center of the earth, but now we're just going to open it up to wherever disillusionment is being held in your energetic system. And what it's showing me is all the qualities that you can imagine from disillusionment, that ache, you know. For those of you who are talking about, and I know all of you on this call can really resonate with that first ping of desire, of a calling that says, hey, psst, 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 there is something more out there. Go seek, go find. And it can be a powerful drive until you get to a point where you realize you don't have to seek and look anymore. You just have to be. But the seeking is so necessary because it's what drives you forward. And so there's all this pain and attached to illusion. It's a network. It's an entanglement. It's a web of karmic stories, and it's not one. Because when you look dimensionally, it could be 50, could be 5,000, could be 500,000, all pointing at the dissonance of disillusion that have happened to you over lifetimes, to your ancestors over lifetimes, that have crushed animated life force within you and disillusioned you to say, well, that's not possible. And I think we can all relate to it right now. We can all relate because we're living in a world, whether you 100,000 million trillion bazillion percent believe it or not, doesn't matter because the world around you doesn't believe it. So you have to shrink back. You have to hide it. You can't stand loud, tall, and proud. Or maybe you can, and you'll still get criticism, especially now with online, especially now when we have these Zoom boomers or whatever they're calling come in and just disrupt this beautiful process. Why? Because they just want to create chaos. It's fun to them. This to them is a joke. And that surrounds us. And so we're breaking down the pain of that, the pain, that innocent part of you that knows it's lost something. It's everywhere. It's in the mental body, emotional body. It's in your kidneys. There's a big patch of fear in your kidneys. It's in your guts. For a lot of you, it's in your third chakra, your control center that says, I must be safe. So let's control what's going on. And there's the loss. There's the grief. There's the, and I think I mentioned this for those of you who are in my April sessions, a keening. And again, this is the second time or third that I've used this. A keening is where you rock back and forth because your grief is so profound and palpable. It's like your system is keening for that sense of innocence that is within all immanence, the state that recognizes it's universal. This is the you that may have been quite magical in lifetimes, and maybe you were persecuted. We all heard stories about the witch trials, about the burnings, the hangings, the persecutions, the um, um, what happened during medieval times. They really rounded up the midwives, the medicine women, the wise elders, because they were the ones who were the leaders, and churches wanted to control. And so they demonized them all and put it down in scripture that has now become what? Law, divine law, Bible that says this alive immanence does not exist. Here is the one true law. And what's so funny about the one true law is how many different sects of religions are there attached to that Bible? How many different ones? And yet they look across at um, different cultures, shamanism, paganism, Wiccan, Greek mythology, and they demonize it all for the sake of power and control. So this disillusionment crosses all these areas within our system, within our memories, within our histories, within our beliefs, current beliefs, past beliefs, present, future. So we're going to dismantle. And I'm sure this is something we're going to go into deeper. Next month, if it calls to you. If it doesn't, you can just re-listen to this. The pain of disillusionment. How you've been deceived. The injustice. The loss. All that entangled in this umbrella, or the metaphor I like to use. How ropes are created? You take twine, you twist it really tight, you take that with two other pieces of twine, you twist that really tight, and then you take these three strings of twine that are twisted together and you make bigger and bigger ropes. All our issues are entwined that way too, in a fabric of what is an energetic field. Awareness is a part of everything. And so you can't just pull one string because it may be attached to others. So I'm not, this little Betty isn't doing any of the work. Divine consciousness is, because they know what to do, where to do it, how to do it. The intention of dissolving, transforming, alchemizing, re-manifesting. If you work with me, you hear me use that term over and over again. To manifest is to bring into creation. To re-manifest is to make it into something else. This dissonant pattern of disillusion, we want to re-manifest it into what? Something that's free of illusion. And so I'm sure before the end of this session, will simply rise for us. And we'll talk more about it then. But right now, it's still in that entangled. And for a lot of you, it's in your guts, it's in your third chakra, it's in your sacral chakra. It's very real for you in a sense that it's around you. It's in you as these patterns of whatever challenges you're going through right now. A lot of you, could be physical, could be emotional, could be in your personal relationships, your relationships to maybe a job, or to finances, or to what's going on. A lot of people are empaths, and what's happening out in the world really affects them. Or maybe you're just stuck. This apathy. So many of us are. Because it's too much. It's just too much. You can't pay attention to it because it's overwhelming. disillusionment is part of it on a very deep level, on a very current level. And of course, there's unhealed trauma. It looks like lives were lost. Some of the stories of magical people being killed. There's one really big story that no one wants to own and admit to when you misused magic and killed or hurt others or wielded its power. We've all done it. We've had thousands of lives. Maybe we were ordered to do it in war. Maybe it was we had to do it because it was the only way to survive. We do it when we stomp on a bug. We don't realize that that bug is an animated part of this world that's in symbiotic relationship with everything around us. I think it's casual. We do it with our domesticated animals that we treat so horrifically. And then we eat that flesh, and that horrific treatment becomes a part of our body. It is all connected. When we start to align with the resonance of universal nature, boy, does that bring up a compassion and caring for everything else in the world around us. Because we realize what's going on to another person is us, and we can't help but respond accordingly. But right now, we're in the guts, the stomach, the digestive system, the third chakra, the sacral chakra, the kidneys, the organs of, interesting, the pancreas, gallbladder, how they all hold. I'm sure some of you have heard about the book, The Body Keeps a Score, how your body holds memory, these patterns, which can be the source of illness. Grief and resentment is known to be a source of cancer or repressed emotions tied to these unhealed issues. Create a disease, create discomfort, all kinds, not just physically, but mentally, and the spiritual break. The spiritual break is the disbelief that says this kind of magic doesn't exist. I'm sure that broke a lot of spirits. And that brokenness is still within you. And right now we're pointing at it, and it's called disillusionment. Dissolution is a disintegration. Everything that you knew to be in your organizing world. They want me to do some heavy breathing here, the Shakti breathing, going into some of those stuck parts, clearing up reality streams, choice points. There you go. And what ties into the network of dissolution is a kind of hardening. It first showed up as a deadening, a deadening of the heart, a deadening of the senses, a deadening of that connection, that flow, that intimately knew it was the water again we swam in, it was the air we breathed, it was the ground we walked on. And that slowly deadened our senses over time. And so there's a hardening within your sixth sense, the other senses that would normally be so much more alive. So we'll call them your subtle sensing. Of course, you have your third eye, but there's also a subtle energy body that can act like an auric field that you can feel into. When you sit with a tree, you can naturally ground by connecting to its field, your field in resonance. When you sing a song, when we did that Om in the beginning, it attuned to the sound of Om within you. The sound of Om is the universal sound of the divine. And your body naturally does that, like scientists have been studying how animals innately know things. Well, this is the answer. It's a natural vibrational resonance. But here in this world, we think logic is intelligence. Humans, let me say that again. Humans think logic means intelligence. In an animated world, it's resonance. It's our ability to understand without saying a word. And we all know it's there. You've walked into a room and you can sense the, uh, the tension. If there's been a fight there, or when you meet someone, oh, something goes off about them. That's your resonance. It's natural. It's there. It exists. It's never went away. But there's been a hardening of those senses, a dulling that naturally took over. And attached to it is a really deep anger. It's pissed off. If someone came in and stole the innocence from you, and you can think of something like, and this is going to sound a little abrupt, so I apologize if this triggers anybody, but if you can think of a sense of rape that is stealing something that is beautifully innocent and it's gone forever by an act of violence. The relational field with the universe is a form of innocence. It was taken away, maybe gradually, maybe suddenly. And there's an anger that's attached to that. And in that anger sprouts more violence. It becomes cyclical. It becomes a cycle that becomes systemic. To me, the biggest problem on earth today in humanity is unresolved trauma. It is this mess, this sewage, this swamp of unhealed emotional hurt and pain and wounds that what do? We cause more by being hurt and angry and lashing out, or self-doubt, or talking bad about ourselves. It's just cyclical, it creates more. And disillusion is a part of it because the universal nature of magic isn't attached to any one thing. It just flows like a river. River may come into rapids and it may be bumpy for a while, but what does it do? It just flows right around those rocks or over them or moves the logs or just gets jammed for a while. Like maybe a beaver came in and it just becomes a pond. None of that river questions why. It's only in the human mind that's made it a mental construct. And so human conditional egoic conditioning is that it's a mental construct. That's called disillusion. The loss of something principled, an organizing principle that was as common and needed as breath. Okay, so I'm going to put in awakening structures and Trinity structures and all sorts of structures. What are they? Oh, just think of them like pinpoints on a map, because obviously this is a part of a pattern that isn't gone in the sample healing. So if you re-listen to this, these structures will be able to pick up where you left off. Beautiful. And so now we're going to bring in an attunement, an alignment, a re-manifestation. We're bringing in the consciousness free of this dissolution, of this disintegrating pattern that took away your magic, seemingly. It's free of that. And it's like a light just got turned on. If you can think of disillusion as a gray, dark, stormy day, this freedom, like a light. And with that light comes all sorts of qualities: quality of clarity, quality of possibility, quality of manifesting, of being confident in this greater world around you. Because dissolution is what? Fearful. It's pulled into that anger, that pain, wants to lash out, wants to be hardened, wants to shut down or isolate. This alignment, it's a piece of truth coming back into function. And so, for whatever time we have left, I'm going to bring in this coherence, build up resonance, align with, attune with, harmonize with this functional state of beingness that is truth. What does truth mean to you? Truth is actually no thing. When we look at disillusion, there are all these stories, all these qualities, all these emotional attachments. Truth says, hey, what's next? It's that curiosity we talked about earlier. It's that creativity, that potential that says, oh, I wonder what's around the next corner. I'm in the process of finding a new place. I have been looking for a while, and a couple have come and gone, and they didn't work out for whatever reason. And some part of me says, oh, it's my fault. I didn't do this, didn't do that. But then there's a big chunk of me that is so curious and says, oh, I wonder where I'm going to land next. With so much trust and faith that this flow of universal life force is going to take me exactly where I need to go. Now, that's truth. That's stabilizing in truth. So we're going to call this alignment with retuning to your functional magic. And again, the term magic is loosely an umbrella for the you that knows it's so much more. And I call it truth, but truth seems a little bit too esoteric. We're just aligning your functional magic, the magic that knows what to do, the magic that knows what to say, that magic that knows who you are in relation to everything else, the magic that hears the whisper of the winds, that senses beauty in the laughter of a child. So just settle into it like you're playing one of your favorite songs, but you didn't even know. Have you ever heard a piece of music or watched a movie, something that touched you deeply the first time you saw it? A friend of mine played a piece of this opera, and he said, and it was literally a minute and a half long. And he said, just listen to this. And I listened to this piece that I'd never heard before. And it was a language, it was in Italian. So I didn't know what they're singing, but it made me cry because some innate part of me knew exactly what the composer was intending. And that same intention, that same resonance is within you. That music connection is within you. And all we're doing here in this session is pulling apart dissonant chords, breaks in the music, places of pauses, harmony, so that your system can sing again in tune with the rest of the world. And the rest of the world can simultaneously sing in tune with you because it's just waiting for us. Trees are awake, birds are awake. I saw a sprite. Oh my goodness, I don't even know how many. It was when my dog was alive. So it was 2015, maybe. I had to kind of squint. They were so beautiful dancing on top of the water. They're there, all around us. Elves exist. You go to certain parts of the world, there's a place in Scotland, the Hebrides, where 40% of the people know this life force exists and have experienced it because that's part of their culture that never really died. And so that's what we did here. We looked into that piece of disillusionment, that piece of deadened life force that was covered over by conditioning, and brought forward a new alignment, awakening of sorts for you to remember at your roots who you are. And on Beltane, it is all about rebirth, right? It's all about growth and nurturing that growth. It's fertility, laying the seeds of new life. And even though magic isn't new life in the strictest sense of the word, it's new to our modern culture. It hasn't seen or known and lived it as a culture thousands of years. And it's finding you back. And you're listening because you're here. Thank you. So the goddess Maya and the angel Jophiel coming in to just sing you a song, gratitude and glory. And in that song, think of this song like little notes that are hitting your system. And as they resonate with your system, little sparks, little droplets, little sacred geometry crystals are lighting up in your system of remembrance. And they're going especially to those dark places, those dead places, those forgotten places. Help them remember and align and come into resonance too. So the angel Jophiel, the goddess Maya, on this beautiful first day of May, the Beltane, singing a song. It says, come back home. Singing a song of your glory, of your return, of your awakening that is truly theirs. Because really all they're here to do is just to remind you, to entrain, to attune your system that already knows, because it never really left. It's just covered over in the dirt and muck of lifetimes of all the things that we worked on earlier. What a gift. What a glorious, glorious gift. Gosh, I wish we could stay here for hours. But you can, when you do the inner work of self-discovery, it gradually peels away, take you to the place where you can start living it and inviting others. You're like, then you then become a lighthouse that resonates out to others and invites them too to come into harmonious resonance with you. That's how this group healing works. That's how I told it works. I call it earth work, because what we do here in the sample group, what we do week in and week out, is work with the divine that instantly transmits out into the planet the shifts, the changes, the alignments instantaneously. Because as you shift and change, so does the earth, because it's all interconnected, right? It's the quantum field. There's scientific proof Well, they're coming into proof anyway. A lot of it is theory from those little stick in the mud scientists. We've got to bring them along. They're singing your praises on this beautiful May Day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I join with them in Sanskrit mantra, which is literally translated, may we move from untruth to truth, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May there be peace on earth, and may we be conduits of that peace. Om Masatoma Sakamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Yircharma Hamtrangamaya Om Shanti 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 Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Om Shanti 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 Om Shri Guru Namaha. Peace, peace, peace. May this glorious gift, resonating peace, continue to unfold and evolve, to grow to more peace. Filling space up with love to enhance and amplify and strengthen all the movements we did, the alignment, the attunement, the remanifesting, repatterning. And adding like a big scoop of ice cream with whipped cream on top and a cherry dollop of gratitude. Gratitude for your time here today. Gratitude for your questions. Gratitude for trusting in the divine to open up to their intelligence and guidance and attunement. And thank you for letting me be a conduit. Lifting you up and out of this space and grace. It is done. It is complete. So it is, so it is, so it is. Please don't come online too fast. Stay flowing in this beautiful resonance of beingness that invites you to deepen it. Stay as long as you feel guided. Until next time, be blessed.